Hi, it's Paul here, co-founder of English Pronunciation Roadmap, and this is your Word of the Week. So this video is about 3-syllable words, and it came from a comment from Stella, who was asking about this, saying, there are some patterns with other words, but not really 3-syllable words, it seems at least, and it's really tricky to figure out which one do I stress, which syllable do I stress. And I've used this word as a starting point because it's pretty commonly mispronounced by non-native English speakers. So let's look at that. So the first thing to notice is that the E I've crossed out is not pronounced. So you don't say interesting, it's just 3 syllables. Interesting. 1, 2, 3. Also the first syllable is stressed, so interesting. And that's really commonly mispronounced as interesting. But no, we say interesting. Interesting. Can you hear the pitch of the voice there? That's the main thing you need to think about when you're talking of stress, is the pitch of the voice is usually higher on the stress syllables. So the pitch is high on the stress syllable, in, and then drops quickly for the other two. Interesting. Interesting. And that's the first of 3 different patterns we'll be looking at: first, second, and third syllable stress. So basically, first is dum-diddy, interesting, yeah? Second is de-dum-dee, and again you can hear the pitch going up on the second syllable, de-dum-dee, and the other 2 are low. And then diddy-dum for number 3, third syllable stress, diddy-dum. And again, the first 2 syllables are really, really low in pitch, and the last one is much higher because it's stressed. Diddy-dum. So, how do you know which stress pattern to use? Well, we'll look at some patterns, some, not rules, but I do say they're patterns to follow a bit later in this video. So, first of all, let's find some example words with first syllable stress, a bit like interesting. So, they include erudite, difficult, interesting, wonderful, revenue, emphasis, anyone, yesterday, somebody, influence, expedite, demonstrate. Next we have second syllable stress. So here are some more words. You've got fantastic, successful, unlawful, correction, illusion, decision. And yes, there is a pattern here actually, we'll talk about that in a minute. And then some more, so abolish, relinquish, accomplish, recycle, remember, uncover, declutter. And again, there's a pattern here for the ish words, and like before we were mentioning with the shun words, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, and then we have third syllable stress, so here are some more words. Semi-skimmed, undercooked, realigned. And then nouns and verbs such as referee, guarantee, and volunteer all have the matching stress pattern of the third syllable stress, along with these verbs as well: deconstruct, recommend, unequip. Do note though, a very, very quick note, that a word that has this final syllable stress can change. The stress can change if a stressed syllable closely follows it. Okay, so that means that all of these words are affected in connected speech in various ways if you're using a stressed syllable next. And if you own any of our trainings, then you can sign up for the private Facebook group which we have, and I'll be releasing a sort of bonus video for those people in a few days' time, so look out for that if you're a member. Otherwise, let's look at some proper patterns in this video that you can start to notice with 3-syllable words. So the first one is that if you have a 3-syllable noun or adjective with a suffix, then it takes the original stress. And what do I mean by original stress? Well, take this word colourful, okay? That's a 3-syllable adjective. Well, the original word that comes from is colour, right? And the stress that that word carries is on the first syllable. So colour, colour. Therefore, I do exactly the same thing. Even though I'm adding a suffix, it stays on that same syllable. The stress remains colour, colourful, colourful. And the same thing happens across the board, really. So look at these words. You've got colourful, functional, dangerous, attractive. That's for adjectives. And then for the nouns, you've got government, partnership, happiness, correction, appearance. And then scarcity, which comes from the word scarce, and clarity, which comes from the word clear, and density from the word dense. All of those keep the stress pattern of the original word. And then the same thing happens if you have a 3-syllable verb with a prefix. Okay, they take the original stress too. So a word like deconstruct, for example, the original word is construct, and that has a stress on the second syllable, construct. Therefore, we keep that struct stressed, and we get deconstruct. So construct, deconstruct. And the same thing happens again across the board. You've got recommend, unequip, recycle, uncover, declutter. So, just to summarise, the original stress patterns we've just been talking about, you've got either a noun or adjective with a suffix, such as colourful, correction and clarity, or a verb with a prefix, so deconstruct, recycle and uncover. Just do bear in mind, if you take away the prefix or the suffix, so if you take away the full or the shun or the ity in the first words, or take away the d, the re or the un in the second group, then if you don't have a real word left over, you can't use this rule. This rule works for these words, right? Because you take away those green suffixes or prefixes, and you have the word colour, correct, clear, construct, cycle, and cover. So this rule does work for those words. Otherwise, you can't use the rule, unfortunately. And then the other pattern we mentioned was this penultimate stress pattern. So we did mention this, the shun words and the ish words, right? We talked about earlier. So correction, illusion, decision, they all end in shun, I-O-N at the end. And that means that we have the penultimate syllable being stressed, which means the second to last syllable is stressed. And the same thing with verbs ending in ish. So abolish, relinquish, accomplish. So there we go. Those are the patterns you can follow, and everything else, unfortunately, as is often the case in English, you kind of have to just memorize and learn. So here's some practice for you, just to get you started. Have a go at some sentences with first syllable stress in those 3-syllable words. Have a go at this. I want to emphasize and demonstrate that it's possible. We just need to tackle interesting and difficult challenges so we can influence more people. That's a definite. And now with the second syllable stress. Don't worry, our new lawyer's very accomplished and successful in his field. I remember he made a few corrections to the contract. He spoke about the appearance of certain clauses. Apparently their inclusion was completely unlawful. And third syllable stress. We found a new referee. She started off as a volunteer, but now she's turned professional. She can practically guarantee a fair game. So she's definitely someone I can recommend. So there we go. And one more thing Stella was mentioning was 2-syllable words. And we didn't cover them today, but she says that they seem to follow certain rules, and she's absolutely right. There are some really straightforward patterns you can follow with 2-syllable words in English in terms of syllable stress. And once you've got them and understood them, it can really boost your confidence. So if you'd like to have a look at that, we cover that in good detail in our intonation training. So do check that out by clicking just here. And then please click here to subscribe. And of course, as always, please comment below with your tricky word, and it might be in the next video. So until then, have a lovely week, and I'll see you in the next Word of the Week.